Online food delivery platform Deliveroo to exit the Hong Kong market. Former central banker Mark Carney will become Canada's new Prime Minister. And Israel cuts off electricity supply to Gaza. Hello and welcome to TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. The British online food delivery platform Deliveroo will exit the Hong Kong market next month. The company said today part of its assets would be sold to Food Panda, while the rest would be handled by liquidators. Mimo Singhai reports.
Deliveroo users will see a notice on the screen of that device when using the platform's app or web page, informing the public about the closure of the company's operations in Hong Kong and that the company has entered into a deal with its competitor, Foodpanda. In a separate statement, Deliveroo says it cannot continue to offer the great service to customers, restaurants and riders that it always aims for, and its final operating day in the city will be April 7th. The company says in 2024, Hong Kong represented 5% of the group's GTV, or gross merchandise value, and had a 5 percentage point negative impact on international GTV growth. Some Deliveroo riders expressed surprise towards the news, saying they might join other local food delivery platforms in the future.
Because all is going well, Yeah, so now I'm just wondering which platform I'm gonna work for. There's many Kita, Foodpanda. For this platform I'm been working for 9 years.
A coffee shop manager in Two Moon, who has partnered with Deliveroo for 3 to 4 years, pays a subscription fee of $1,000 per month. The manager says they had joined a discount event organized by the company earlier this month and only realized Deliveroo would be closing by reading the news. He added Deliveroo's revenue sharing was odd. It seemed the company had been subsidizing each order too much. 2 food delivery platforms will remain in the city after the departure of Deliveroo. Kita, part of mainland food delivery company Meituan, entered the Hong Kong market in 2023. A market survey shows that Deliveroo's market share in 2024 dropped to 25% from the previous 30%. Meanwhile, the market share of Kita and Foodpanda about 30% and 40% respectively. Mimo 9, TVB News.
Former central banker Mark Carney will become Canada's new Prime Minister. This after the governing Liberal Party elected him its leader on Sunday in a landslide vote with 85.9% support. The other top Liberal leadership candidate, former Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, received just 8% of the vote. Daniel Rao tells us more.
59-year-old Mark Carney replaces Justin Trudeau as Canadian Prime Minister. Trudeau announced his resignation in January, but remains Prime Minister until his successor is sworn in the coming days. Carney picked up one endorsement after another from cabinet ministers and members of the Canadian Parliament since declaring his candidacy in January. He is a highly educated economist with Wall Street experience who has long been interested in entering politics and becoming Prime Minister. Carney navigated crises when he was the head of the Bank of Canada, and in 2013 he became the first non-British citizen to run the Bank of England since it was founded in 1694. His appointment won bipartisan praise in the UK after Canada recovered from the 2008 financial crisis faster than many other countries. However, he lacks political experience. Carney is widely expected to soon trigger an election amid US President Donald Trump's sweeping tariff threats. After decades of stable bilateral ties, the vote on Canada's next leader now is expected to focus on who is best equipped to deal with Washington. Trump has postponed 25% tariffs on many goods from Canada and Mexico for a month. This amid widespread fears of a broader trade war. Still, the US president has threatened tariffs on steel, aluminium, dairy and other products. Carney said his government will keep its initial retaliatory tariffs in place until the Americans show us respect, adding that Trump's economic threats to Canada won't succeed.
There's someone who's trying to weaken our economy. Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, as we know, has put, as the Prime Minister just said, unjustified tariffs on what we build, on what we sell, on how we make a living. He's attacking Canadian families, workers, and businesses, and we cannot let him succeed. And we won't.
Dan Orell, TVB News.
U.S. President Donald Trump says there are 4 potential buyers for TikTok. Chinese owners ByteDance were ordered to sell because of security fears by a law passed by the previous administration in Washington. Trump delayed the decree by 75 days. Last week, he said there could be a further delay, but overnight he suggested a buyer could soon be found.
There could be. We're dealing with 4 different groups, and a lot of people want it, and it's up to me. So there could be.
Who are you leaning towards?
All 4 are good.
Israel has cut off electricity supply to Gaza, affecting a desalination plant producing drinking water to part of the arid territory, a move the Palestinian group Hamas calls Israel's starvation policy. This as meetings between Hamas leaders and U.S. hostage negotiator Adam Boehler have focused on the release of an American-Israeli dual national being held by the militant group in Gaza. Tracy Furness has more.
The sun setting over buildings devastated by war in the Gazan town of Jabalia. For those buildings left standing, generators and solar panels are used for some of the power supply. But Israel's Minister of Energy and Infrastructure, Eli Cohen, announced Sunday that electricity would be cut off in the Gaza Strip with immediate effect. We will employ all tools available to us so that all hostages will return, and we will ensure Hamas won't be in Gaza the day after, Cohen said. The suspension affected a desalination plant providing water to Gaza, Hamas calling it part of Israel's starvation policy. Meanwhile, last week, Israel cut off all supplies of goods to the territory of over 2 million people. Palestinians have been lining up outside aid distribution centres across Gaza to receive humanitarian aid. After more than 16 months of war, Gaza's population is entirely dependent on trucked-in food and other aid. But many say it's not enough to feed their families. This resident of Khan Yunis said, "Last time we received aid, it was just a bag of flour, and that bag is not enough. For those who have children, it is not enough to feed them." Israel wants Hamas to release half of the remaining hostages in return of a promise to negotiate a lasting truce. The first phase of the ceasefire between the two sides ended on March 1st. Israel has been pressing Hamas to accept an extension of the first phase, but Hamas instead wants to start negotiations on the ceasefire's more difficult second phase, which would see the release of remaining hostages from Gaza, the withdrawal of Israeli forces, and a lasting peace. Several meetings have already taken place in Doha between Hamas and Washington, focusing on releasing one of the dual nationality hostages. Hamas so far has exchanged 33 Israeli hostages for about 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and detainees, also releasing 5 Thai hostages. Hamas is believed to have 24 living hostages and the bodies of 35 others. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Iran will consider nuclear negotiations with the U.S. if talks are aimed at addressing concerns regarding any potential materialization of its nuclear program. The statement came from Tehran's mission at the UN, but seemed to contradict a speech by the Supreme Leader a day earlier. After posting that talks could take place under some circumstances, the Iranian mission added discussions to dismantle the country's peaceful nuclear program would never happen. Trump says he sent a letter to Iran's leadership last week telling them he wants to negotiate. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said over the weekend Iran will not negotiate with the bullying United States because they're bringing up new demands like changing their defense capabilities and missile range. In Germany, nearly 300 flights were canceled at Hamburg Airport on Sunday as ground staff walked out ahead of wider strikes planned across the country today. Many service desks sat empty as would-be passengers lined up to seek information about the cancellations. This overhead board had canceled in red next to most of the listed flights. The surprise strike affected more than 40,000 passengers on Sunday. A wider strike across Germany is taking place today across 13 airports amid new contract negotiations. Only half an hour's notice was given for the initial walkout, with just 10 of more than 280 scheduled flights going ahead as planned. For months, the union has been negotiating a new agreement that aims to improve health and safety, provide more vacation days, increase annual bonus to 50%, among other things. Still ahead, in Beijing, the top political advisory body's annual session draws to a close. And locally, a government-funded AI research and development center receives a $200 million donation. China's top political advisory body's annual session drew to a close this morning. The Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, or CPPCC, has adopted resolutions calling for unswerving adherence to the one country, two systems principle and heightened efforts to serve China's modernization. Danny Zhou with details.
The third session of the 14th Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, held in tandem with meetings of the National Legislative Body, came to an end at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. President Xi Jinping and Premier Li Qiang joined more than 2,000 delegates to deliberate on state affairs. The work report of the Standing Committee of the CPPCC National Committee was approved with a vote of 2,080 to 1. A report on the examination of new proposals was passed by acclamation during the meeting. Delegates also unanimously ratified a momentous political resolution. A significant portion of it was dedicated to Hong Kong, Macau and Taiwan affairs. It made pledges to ensure the resolute and full implementation of one country, two systems, under which the people of Hong Kong administer Hong Kong and the people of Macau administer Macau with a high degree of autonomy. Also included in the resolution was the call for consistently pushing for the great cause of reunification of the motherland. Chairman of the National Committee, Wang Huning, urged CPPCC members to brush up on their participation in politics and gear towards China's modernization. He said in his speech that more focus should be given to comprehensively deepening reforms and maintaining social stability and harmony. We must serve the big picture and people's livelihood through high-quality consultation and suggestions in a bid to enhance unity and solidarity, Wang noted. He stressed the necessity of developing the broadest possible patriotic united front, pulling strength from the Chinese people of all ethnic groups, both at home and abroad. To this end, the CPPCC must give full play to its political role by building up mechanisms that reflect social realities and public opinions, he said. Wang also pointed out more work should be done to spur confidence, enhance cohesion, and inject warmth into communities in passing on positive energy. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
According to the government, 17 large cruise ships will visit Hong Kong this month. While authorities hope the tourism sector can provide more attractions to tourists from cruise ships, some industry representatives believe coordination between sectors is needed. Samantha Lee tells us more.
17 large cruise ships are expected to visit the city this month. 2 luxurious ships docked at Ocean Terminal in Tsim Sha Tsui today. So where did the passengers visit?
We went to Aberdeen. We did a little boat tour and see the houseboats, and that was very nice. And then we went to the beach to Stanley.
We went off the ship and looked around, and then we found the big bus tour and we made it. Because we are here the first time, don't know the geographic and highlights.
The Hong Kong Tourism Board encouraged cruise companies to include kayak as a sport during the stopover. Yet some sector representatives said this relies on the coordination of kayak sports park. Fanny Yuan, Executive Director of the Travel Industry Council, said the kayak sports park should communicate well with the cruise companies on details such as the opening hours of the park. She added promotion on new tourist spots is also crucial to let more tourists know where to travel. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
The government-funded Hong Kong Generative AI Research and Development Center, or HKGAI, has received a $200 million donation from a property developer. The money will be used to support the development of AI tools. Samantha Lee again.
The donation ceremony took place at the central government offices. The Ng Tan Fang Charitable Foundation and Sino Group donated $200 million to support Hong Kong Guy under the government's HK Innovation Program. Financial Secretary Paul Chan and the Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry Sun Dong were among those attending the ceremony. Hong Kong Guy has earlier developed the city's first artificial intelligence model, Hong Kong Guy V1. Inspired by DeepSeek, Hong Kong Guy V1 has a localized database and is able to identify Cantonese, Putonghua, and English. The model will be able to answer a wide range of inquiries, such as travel plans and movie tickets.
我非常荣幸
Guo Yike, director of Hong Kong Guy, said the donation will be fully devoted to developing the model and creating a safe data platform that can provide technology assistance to local enterprises and research centers. The government considers AI as a core industry in the city. Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry Sun Dong expressed gratitude to the donor and pinned hopes on locally developed AI tools.
This money will be mainly used for this establishment of platforms such as manpower as well as computing power support. Because when you try to run a service system to the general public, you must have enough resource to support this platform, including human power as well as computing power. I also hope that the new version of the mobile version of the large language model of Hong Kong Guy will be serve the Hong Kong people as soon as possible, hopefully in the next several months.
As of now, more than 70 government departments have commenced trials of the Hong Kong Guy application system. The center will continue to develop the system for different scenarios and launch it for public use as soon as possible. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Pearl Magazine is up shortly. See you then.